The men, who are from Myanmar, deny the charges. Millions of people have found their gaming consoles have been hit by technical issues after hackers managed to disable some online services. Sony and Microsoft, the companies behind the PlayStation and Xbox systems, say they're aware of the problems and are working to fix them. Theo Leggett has more details.
Computer gaming is a huge industry with legions of followers around the world. But over the past couple of days, many of them were left twiddling their thumbs as games networks run by Sony and Microsoft stopped working. Among them was musician Alan Bluestone.
Well, I've been touring because I'm a DJ, so all I wanted to do was just chill out at home and make music and play the PlayStation, and it's not working, and it's very disappointing.
So what actually happened? Well, to make the most of these consoles, players have to connect to the internet in order to reach the manufacturer's computer servers. The outage stopped people accessing some of the core services. Things like registering a new account to download games, connecting with other people to play the same game, and connecting to entertainment channels via the console. Microsoft's system has 48 million subscribers for the Xbox, and there are more than double that for the PlayStation network. There was a time when if you bought a computer gaming console, that's pretty much all you were buying, and if you wanted to play with your friends, you'd invite them round to your house. Nowadays, when you buy one of these, you're joining a much wider community. But the problem is, if the network doesn't work, it doesn't work either. It's not clear what caused the problems. A hacking group called Lizard Squad has claimed responsibility. That's bad news for Sony, which recently had the launch of a major new film, The Interview, badly disrupted because of hackers. In this case, there's no evidence of any private information being stolen, and services are slowly being restored. But on a day when both Sony and Microsoft would normally have expected to rack up bumper sales of new games, they'll be counting the cost. Theo Leggett, BBC News.
Let's get some more on this. Let's speak to Jeffrey Carr in Seattle. He's a cybersecurity analyst and author who runs the consultancy firm Tire Global. Thank you very much for joining us today on this story. This particular case is slightly different to the Sony scenario. Personal information wasn't disclosed. Just explain the differences for us, please.
Well, the PlayStation and gaming hacks are simply an interruption of the ability to partake of an online technology. The Sony case was destruction of servers and the exfiltration and release of a great deal of secretive or confidential or sensitive information.
Now, Lizard Squad is the group that is claiming responsibility. What do we know about them?
Honestly, this is not something that we track as a rule. I can't really provide you with any information about Lizard Squad or about this particular event.
So not much information on them per se, but in terms of the complications for gamers and in terms of the kind of increase in these types of attacks, what should we be worried about?
Anything that's online is a source of concern. So, as important as gaming is to folks, if it's interrupted, it's not going to cause two nations to go to war. It's not going to mean that your bank account has been emptied. So while it is important, of course, especially to gamers, on a scale of severity, it's not nearly as high as some other types of attacks. And therefore, if you have anything that's online that's sensitive or that would hurt you if it were released, you should really think twice about having it accessible online in any way.
But for people that perhaps don't do this, don't go into this kind of online gaming, I know so many millions of people are involved, but people who don't, what kind of information do you end up giving when you get involved in playing against other people on the internet?
Well, usually it's your registration information, your billing, your credit card or billing information, email addresses, passwords. Sometimes people use the same email address and password multiple times. So whoever, depending upon the type of attack, if it was just a disruption, that information may still be secure. If it was a disruption plus stealing user information, then if you're repeating that information and the rest of your online presences or the rest of your online registrations, then you could easily be at risk in those other areas as well.
So potentially very sensitive information. Jeffrey Carr, thank you very much for explaining all of those issues for us. And yes, as we heard there, we don't know much about Lizard Squad, but they're certainly making many people's lives a misery. Well, we spoke about Sony Pictures and that film, The Interview. It has actually made more than $1 million on its Christmas Day release. The political comedy about the assassination of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was pulled from wider release following a cyber attack on the Sony studios. Now, it was shown in only 320 theatres in the United States and received mixed reviews. Don't go away.